All right, y'all, welcome back to another video, man. Today we got 10 bold predictions for the 2026 NBA season. Let's get it.
My first prediction, I have that the Mavericks and Bucks are both 8 seeds or lower. Let me discuss why.
Okay, before you get into that, Dallas, no. Bucks, yes. I can see the Bucks being under 8th seed. I don't see... You know, maybe it's a 50-50 toss-up because Dallas has their injuries. AD, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't get injured, but he'll probably get injured. Kyrie Irving might get injured again, hopefully not. Again, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't. But there's too many now injury-prone people on that team. You got a rookie in Cooper Flag, you got a decent bench, you got good backup big men, but... Other than that, there's really nothing else there. But I don't see the Bucks. It's basically just Giannis on that team at this point. It's just Giannis.
I've seen a little bit of hype around both these teams recently, more so the Mavericks. I know a lot of people who think the Mavericks are legitimate championship contenders, and I do think in a world where they were healthy, I might say they would have a shot. Even still, I'd probably still have them outside that tier, but at least I could see where you're coming from. But without Kyrie Irving, I think this offense is really going to struggle, and I worry a lot about Anthony Davis's health. If AD misses any significant stretch of the season, this team is going to absolutely plummet. And already, there's a lot of stress on Cooper Flag to be ridiculously good from the get-go and elevate their offense, which is a big concern.
A little bit of a hot take for Cooper Flag. I don't think that he'll be what people say that he's going to be. So a lot of people were saying he's going to be the next LeBron. He's the best prospect since Wemby and LeBron. I don't think so. At least for me, I don't see it.
And then with the Milwaukee Bucks, kind of in the East, people are talking about how weak it is. And yeah, it's weak when you compare it to like the best of the best in the West. But there are still a lot of really good, especially regular season teams in the Eastern Conference. And this Bucks team, if Giannis misses a single game, forbid that he misses like 10 to 15 at some point, they stand no chance against almost anybody. I really don't feel good about this roster whatsoever. I've seen some people start to feel better about it and say, hey, but the East is weak.
Yeah, pretty much what I said. I mean, they have Giannis and pretty much nobody. I forgot they actually got Turner. But it's still Giannis and pretty much nobody. I mean, Gary, they got Anthony, but it's not enough. Kyle Kuzma, just a trash can. They've got nobody. If Giannis misses even one game, they're cooked.
Maybe the Bucks can make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals. I just don't see it. Giannis is all time. Like, he's one of the best players ever, one of the best in the world right now, still at his peak. But have you taken a look at the rest of that roster? It's way too weak. The second one is that the Thunder, Rockets, Cavs, and Nuggets all win 60-plus games. That would be 4 teams, tying the NBA record.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I could see that. I don't know if the Rockets will get there. But that's a really good prediction.
A Thunder, self-explanatory. They won about 68 last year. I think they could get close to that again. The Rockets won low 50s last year without a real half-court offense. You put Kevin Durant, Dorian Finney-Smith in the fold, and another year for their young players to get better. I think it's very realistic to think they could win 60. The Nuggets, same thing. They got better. They dealt with some big-time ups and downs, especially early on in the season. I think they'll be more consistent now, and as long as Jokic is healthy, they're going to be a threat every single night to not only beat teams, but blow almost anybody out. So I think they have a good shot at it. Cavs, obviously last year also 160 plus. I expect them to just run that straight back. I don't see really any regression coming. In fact, I think the Cavs are going to be even better. I could see like the Knicks getting there, but I couldn't push myself to say 5 teams. If I had to project, I think the Knicks win like 56, 57. I think at least 4 teams could get to 60 wins this season. And honestly, I don't even think that's crazy to say. Speaking of the Cavs, my next take is that Evan Mobley is widely considered the Cavs' best player by the end of the season.
I strongly disagree. You can say that he will be the best defensive player on the team. That's without a doubt. But the best overall player on the team, I don't think so. He has to vastly improve on offense for him to be considered that. Like, for him to be over Mitchell, I don't see it. Mobley's going to have to vastly improve as an offensive threat.
I already know some people that would argue that, but I think if you ask most people, they're going to say Donovan Mitchell. And this is not supposed to be a slight at Donovan Mitchell, by the way. He's one of my favorite in the league. It's more so a vote of confidence in Evan Mobley. I think this year he's going to average 21 to 23 points per game. I think he could get closer to 23 because I think the Cavs know they need a lot more Evan Mobley. I just feel like Mobley is not being respected enough as one of the most high potential unicorn players in this sport. And I think by the end of this,
I disagree with that. I think Evan Mobley is very praised for having a very high ceiling. I don't think anybody's saying that Evan Mobley doesn't have a high ceiling. He does. He just needs to improve his offense for you to even consider him being the best on the team over Spider.
my fourth prediction is that Zion and Ja Morant, the top 2 picks from 2019, are both in heavy trade rumors, and at least one of them is dealt by the deadline. This is more so leaning towards Zion, but I wanted to throw Ja in there too because I think there is.
I think he's definitely right with Zion. Zion most likely will be traded. The thing is, though, there's not a big market for Zion right now, right? Like, when he does play, he's a top 5 to top 10 player in the league. I don't think you can dispute that at all. You just can't stay healthy. I don't think there's any team willing to take a chance on Zion.
A possibility. His time in Memphis comes to an end somewhat soon. Let's talk about Zion first. I just don't think this Pelicans team is going to be good. If they're healthy, they're somewhat competent with Zion and Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, and Jordan Poole was pretty good last year. And they've got some intriguing young talent. Yves Missi had a pretty good rookie season. Jose Alvarado. It's not a team devoid of any talent, but I don't trust Zion to stay healthy. I don't trust many players at all in that roster to stay healthy. And even if they do, they might be competent, but that's not a playoff team. I don't think they're anywhere close to a playoff. So when I think about them and, the trajectory they're going, it seems like they're getting younger. Maybe Zion won't be traded by the deadline because they owe their pick by trading up for Derek Queen to the Atlanta Hawks, which still blows my mind that that's a move that they made. But I could see a world where
Yeah, that was such a stupid trade. That was so dumb.
Zion, either he's dealing with injury and some team buys low, or he's healthy and having a monster season, but the Pelicans are still not very good, and they decide to sell high at the moment when they just feel like they can get whatever they are looking for him and not risk the chance of him being injured and then his value going back down. My fifth take is that LeBron James is going to be off the Lakers by midseason. This
is actually a decent prediction. LeBron James is only going at the deadline if Bronny is traded with him. If Bronny isn't in a package, LeBron's saying no. Right, and LeBron has enough power where you can say, I'm not getting traded, right? Like, if my son isn't going with me, I'm not being traded.
One is bold because I don't think a lot of people at this point expect him to be traded during the season or get bought out or anything like that. I'm going to go bold and say that he does, whether it's because the Lakers aren't living up to some expectations. Like, I'm not as high on the Lakers as I've seen some people are. I do think they're going to be good this season, but not really phenomenal the way that some people might be expecting. Sticking with the Lakers, my sixth bold prediction is that Luka Doncic averages a 30-plus point triple-double.
It's not crazy. It's not that crazy to say that. Well, I can see that. I can see that. Other than the rebound.
Maybe this isn't that bold to some of you because he got pretty close a couple years ago, but it's only ever been done twice in NBA history. Jokic did average a triple-double this past season, but didn't average 30 in the process. I think the Lakers are going to pretty much hand Luka the keys. LeBron's going to probably take a bit of a back seat, and Luka's going to go out there and have the best statistical season of his career. He's on this revenge tour. He's getting in shape. I just think it's going to be a monster Luka season, and he's going to join.
Oh yeah, no, it'll definitely be a monster Luka season, but I don't think I see him getting a 30-point triple-double. He might get 30 and 10 assists, but he'll probably struggle with the rebounds being skinnier and less stronger.
Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook as only the third player ever to average a 30-plus point triple-double. I just think it's his franchise now, so he's going to have the best season of his career. My seventh bold prediction is basically a Kings fire sale. I think Sabonis, DeRozan, and LaVine are all dealt away by the deadline. Just built this team. DeRozan last summer, LaVine midway through the season at the deadline. Sabonis obviously been there a little bit longer, but I just can't see this lasting very long. I think the Kings are so far behind the competition that they're trying to catch up to in the Western Conference. It's not a good defensive team. It's not a good shooting team. Like, LaVine was awesome. I think they could genuinely get some pretty good value now that his contract is coming towards an end. And with how good he was last season, if he replicates that, I think there is a real return to be had for Zach LaVine, even though it is a lot of money. DeMar DeRozan, I also think, he's not making that much money. He can still be good for some team out there if some team is just looking to make.
I'm going to say Zach LaVine is Sabonis. I'm not going to say DeMar because there's not really a team out there for DeMar, right? DeMar is a very 90s style player, right? He doesn't really shoot threes. He's a mid-range savant, not that great on defense. He's pretty much a 90s player. There's no team in the NBA right now that could really use him, and that hurts me to say because I'm a Raptors, but I don't see any team really needing him.
An acquisition around the deadline that they feel improves a little bit, gives them more of an offensive punch. I think he could be moved. Sabonis is a tougher case because it's hard for me to imagine many teams that he makes sense on, but there are a few that come to the top of my mind.
So you say that, DeMar DeRozan has a market, but Domantas Sabonis doesn't have a market? What?
And where they could use a center, and I think Sabonis could be somewhat effective in those systems. Eighth bold prediction is that the Boston Celtics win the draft lottery. I think it's going to happen. We just had an insane shock with the Dallas Mavericks when...
No, I don't know. It's definitely bold, but no. Dallas, there's clearly something going on with, clearly something fishy going on with the NBA in Dallas. If you want my personal opinion on it, I think that this was rigged. 100% rigged. 100% rigged. It's not going to happen again.
And the Atlanta Hawks the year before went ahead and won it. It's been a shocker the past 2 years. I think we see that trend continue. Brad Stevens is an incredibly smart general manager. He's really good at his job. And I feel like this Celtics team isn't going to make the playoffs. They have some glaring holes now that there's no Jason Tatum and they lack Porzingis and Drew Holiday. I think they're going to give a lot of young guys a run. I think they know pretty clearly from the moves that they made that this is a big time pivot year. And the biggest prize, the best possible outcome for one of these years is getting the top pick in what is an unbelievably stacked draft class at the top with Darren Peterson and AJ DeBay and Cam Boozer, amongst many others. This is a loaded class. Even if you get a top 5, a top 7, a top 10 pick, you feel really good about that extra asset if you are the Boston Celtics. On that note, my 9th bold prediction is that the Jazz and Nets are last in their conference by 12 plus games each. I think they're both pretty clearly the worst team.
That's not a bold take. That's not a bold take. They both suck. That's not a bold take. Obviously, this is going to happen. We're going to skip that.
Finally, my last take is that Victor Wembanyama has a 70-plus point game this season.
It's not crazy to say that either. That's not bold. That's not crazy to say that either. I think Wemby's going to get 80 plus. The Hornets or some other trash can organization like that, or the Sun. This isn't a hot take, so I'm just going to skip it. All right, yeah, let me know what you guys think about those bold predictions. What did I get wrong? What did I get right?